Today I'll be doing this beautiful sunrise painting, which I'm doing as a commission for one of my friends as a part of her business. You'll see the end product with her logo and a few other decorations at the end. I did a few of the accents with air-dried clay and painted them with fabric paint, acrylic paint, and some glue to hold it together. So as you can see here, I'm doing a spiral with a plain orange acrylic paint. It's the center of the painting, so from here I'll go either upwards using scarlet red, crimson red, burnt sienna, and a little bit of ochre yellow, and going downwards I'll use orange, titanium white, lemon yellow, and ochre. There might be a little orange in there as well to make the colors a little darker, but still for the lighter side. So as you can see, before I started painting, I had a little drawing laid out which had a few lines. There are approximately 15 lines, so the entire painting has 15 shades between from red to yellow. So we have the maroons, reds, then darker orange red, orange yellow, then lighter yellows as you go lower into the painting. So each sector of the painting is approximately a 24-degree angle, so that as a circle is 360, that divides perfectly into 15 lines and sections or parts of a pie, and the width of each of the sectors is approximately 0.5 centimeters. You'll see as I keep going here. So I prefer using this method to paint the lines. I do have to be a little more careful and use a smaller brush in comparison to using tape. Probably because I don't actually know how to use tape and it always rips my paint, but that's probably only on paper. I haven't exactly tried. I always learned how to do this one this way. I prefer it. It feels more natural and feels more natural. So for each color, I'm doing approximately 2 to 3 paints. Very few of the colors I do actually only one paint, because the paints are not actually completely opaque, they're more translucent. So you'd be able to see the brush strokes and the canvas, which I don't prefer you'd be able to see. So I do 2 to 3 coats depending on the coloring. For example, using only one color, for example, if I was using crimson red, I would do at least 3 coats as it's just a simple color. But for a mixture of at least 2 to 3 colors, including probably reds, oranges, and white, which makes it more opaque, I usually do only 1 coat depending on the coloring. So I'm going upwards into the reds, and you can see how with each layer it gets a little darker each time, and I don't have an exact estimate of how many colors I do for either side, darker or lighter, with the hues. So I just go as I feel, but I try to keep it within 7, and I have 1 at the end which I can either make really red or more lighter yellow. So as we get to the end, you'll see. So I've done 7 shades of red, not including the first shade of orange, and now I'm going lighter into the painting with ochre yellow and lemon yellow. I think this shade is only ochre, as with very little orange mixed in, as it's the closest to the actual orange color. So right now, and as I keep going, I'll add more colors and probably try to make it lighter, probably make different combinations. Like if right now I'm doing an orange and a white, or a ochre and a white, as I go lighter I might just use lemon yellow, I might use ochre and completely white, which changes the color completely. but it still goes along with the previous color, so that's what I prefer to do. So I have only 4 more remaining. So as you can see, I've done 7 of the darker shades from the orange, and I'll do about 6 of the lighter shades from going towards the yellow. What I usually prefer to do when I'm watching videos like these is increase the playback speed if I'm only watching for the painting. So if you'd like to do that, you can always try that in the settings button on the right hand corner, or up if you're using a mobile device. So as you can see, I've used a very light shade of yellow, which is most probably a mixture of lemon yellow and a little bit of white, or only lemon yellow, and I'll only be doing one, or maybe at the minimum a very light coat, a second light coat, as when you add a large amount of white to any paint, it becomes very opaque in comparison to only using the paint itself. So that's what you can see me doing here, and as you can see, I do a couple of strokes instead of doing just one long stroke, because I find it easier to keep in the lines that way. As I go closer towards the end, I'll do a little zoom in so you can see exactly how I brush through the corner. So this will be my last shade of yellow, as I feel like it's getting too light and the red is not light enough. So the next color I'll be doing is a maroon, which will be a mixture of burnt sienna and crimson red, since that's a little darker than just using crimson, which is what the color before was. So as you can see, in comparison to most of my other usual paintings, I haven't combined them to make a complete spiral, so it looks like it is, instead of looking like a circle, which you'll see in some of my other paintings, which I'll tag up here in the info button. So as you can see, I just outline the top line so that I don't contaminate the higher color, which is lighter in comparison to the lower color, so it doesn't matter as much if I dropped some of the maroon onto the red, as you won't be able to tell the difference, and I'll do a little cleanup later with either my finger or a brush with just water on it. As it's acrylic paint, it usually comes off with just water if it's not dried as yet. So as you can see, I'm doing a couple of smaller strokes. First I outline the top line, and then I do a couple of smaller strokes with very little paint so it doesn't blob up. And you can see, if you pay really close attention, that the paint is actually not very opaque, except for the first line, as that one is thicker. So this is quite translucent, so I'll probably do 3 coats of this color. And that's all. So if you'll see in the next clip that I've used 2 accents of a cupcake and a decorated cake right about now, and those are made out of air dried clay and they're painted with acrylic paint. The cake is made a little differently than the cupcake. It has a little glue in between to keep the corners together, and that's the complete piece.